Hello YouTube, how's everyone doing? It's Professional here. Welcome back to my playthrough of Medal of Honor Frontline Remastered. If you guys enjoyed this series, please do drop a like. It does help me to make more content like this. So I want to apologize to everyone for not having a Medal of Honor Frontline part up for a week. I was just very busy with the GT Online update, but now that I've covered a lot of that stuff, I'm still going to do some GT Online videos, but I covered the bulk of it, and I have, more time for playthrough. So whenever I start a series, I do finish it. So sorry for the delay, but I know there's a lot of people that have been asking for the next part. So here we go, and I'm going to talk a lot of history in this part here coming up. But yeah, let's do it. Next mission here.
Congratulations on your success in France, Lieutenant Patterson. I trust the weather was charming. Unfortunately, we have little time for small talk, as we have a rather difficult assignment for you. Battlefield and politics are two words that should never go together, but unfortunately Eisenhower, under pressure from both Washington and London, has approved Field Marshal Montgomery's Market Garden operation. It's scheduled to begin in less than a week. We are very dubious of the plan's potential for success. It's an extremely risky one, but it could end the war by Christmas if it succeeds. Time is of the essence, as we received an urgent request from one of our agents in the Dutch underground for an immediate field rendezvous. He had stolen intelligence materials detailing a new German weapons project, but got himself captured in the process. He was able to send us a message just before they nabbed him. He's being held in a Dutch manor house. This, of course, is where we turn to you. We need you to make contact with one of our field operatives in Holland, locate the prisoner, and get him out of there. We need that information, Patterson. It's critical. Only our operative knows how to get you to the manor house where our Dutch agent is being held. The rest, my friend, will be up to you. On a dual mission for both the OSS and SHAEF, you will parachute into the region and quietly meet up with a small unit led by a Corporal Barnes, who you might remember from your days at the country club, but more so, you may have heard rumors about his stellar performance during Operation Overlord. I believe the last time you saw him, he was preparing for demolitions training. He'll be tagging along to investigate rumors of German armor in the area and take advantage of any opportunity that may present itself. If anyone can do this, Jimmy, it's you. I wish you luck.
So, basically, Operation Market Garden is about to happen, and Operation Market Garden failed. It was an attempt to end the war by Christmas, but the main reason that Operation Market Garden failed is because the Allies underestimated the German military at the time. The Allies believed that the Western Allies believed that the German military was on the verge of collapse, which Germany had already lost the war. There was no way that Germany was going to win the war by September 1944. You could argue that Germany lost the war pretty much in 1943, but by September 1944, they lost the war, but they could still fight on for some time. And all Germany could pretty much do at this point is they could delay their defeat. But that's the problem, is that that's the thing. The Allies underestimated how strong the German army was, because even though they were losing and they were going to lose the war, they weren't on the verge of collapse just yet, and they could still fight pretty much. It wasn't until, I would say, January, February, March, April 1945, that's when the German army is pretty much in collapse. But around this time, they were still a very formidable foe. And, Operation Market Garden, they planned on parachuting behind enemy lines, secure key bridges. By this point, September 1944, pretty much most of France had been taken. And, the Allies had started pushing into Holland, and then eventually into Belgium, where, you would have the Battle of the Bulge that would happen. That was the Battle of the Bulge, I believe, is the largest battle in Western Europe fought during World War II. But anyways, a rough landing. Holland countryside, 16 September 1944, 18:30 hours. A Dutch resistance informant named Garrett has news critical to Allied command. However, we lost contact with him and have begun to assume the worst. We must determine what happened to Garrett, and just as importantly, what he knew. You'll be dropping outside Kloofberg, the last known position of the informant. You'll be dropped in fairly safe distance from town, giving you a chance to survey the area and select the best route into the village. But don't be fooled by the green and peaceful landscape around Kloofberg. It's swarming of German forces on leave. 2 squad mates will accompany you. Corporal Baines is a demolitions expert on his own mission to destroy any tanks you encounter. Your job is to watch his back. Okay. The other is, Timothy Connor, a rookie in terms of drops, but an excellent navigator and Dutch translator. Though the area may seem serene, keep in mind that Operation Market Garden is underway. Watch for and assist stray allies who may have drifted off target during a drop. Also, it's been reported that the German soldiers are mistreating Dutch civilians, so intervene as necessary. And that's the thing, in Medal of Honor Frontline, you actually see that. You see the German military harassing civilians, which you actually, whenever you play a lot of World War II games, you actually don't see civilians in them. But that's that's one of the things that Frontline did, and Frontline is one of the most earliest World War II games. Your squad will see you to the gates of Kluvberg, but you'll have to search the town alone for any information on the fate of our informant Garrett. Ironic, isn't it? Not too long ago, you were flying paratroopers to their destinations. Now you're the one dropping into the fire. Here's to a soft landing. Yeah, this is definitely one of the greatest World War II games ever made.
This your first drop, Patterson, or is your aim always as bad as mine? We better see if anyone else is around. Then we'll get you to town.
So right here, this scene, this right here is actually very historically accurate. Stuff like this very much did happen.
You wanna give me a hand? Wait, Jimmy!
So,
Let's go.
that is actually one of the one thing that happened during Operation Market Garden. When soldiers were paratrooping, they would get stuck, not oftentimes on windmills like this, but they would get stuck in trees, and their parachute would trap them in trees, and it was too high for them to actually drop down from their parachute because they'd break their bones. In here, you can actually find yeah. You can find a Nazi threatening an old woman, but you can save her here. A lot of people actually miss this part. But yeah, that right there is a perfect example of why Operation Market Garden did not succeed, because the soldiers, when they were parachuting into wooded areas, they would fall into those into trees, get stuck there, and what happened was, if the Germans, oh great, I think they dropped mortars on you on this part, yeah. So, okay, get rid of these guys here first. Oh, come on, how did I not hit him there? Okay.
Jimmy, it's my job to take out any tanks we come across.
That guy, by the way, that I shot right there, he feigns a surrender. He pretends to surrender, and then he pulls a gun on you. Okay. Okay, take cover. There we go, first tank destroyed. Okay, so what I was saying about Operation Market Garden, when that soldier, when he got stuck in the windmill and he couldn't get down, he was pretty much already dead. The second that he got trapped in the windmill, he was already dead. Because there was nothing that Jimmy could do to get him, and also the second the Nazis are going to get to him, they're going to shoot him. And this is what happened is that if you were a soldier during Operation Market Garden and you actually got caught in a tree, if the Nazis caught you, they're not going to cut you down and take you as a prisoner. They're oftentimes just going to shoot you while you're hanging up there. So you see that scene in a lot of World War II movies and games. You see that scene where a soldier gets caught in a tree and then the Nazis come and shoot him. That actually happened in real life. And the reason that the Nazis actually executed a lot of paratroopers is because of Hitler's infamous commando order. So basically what happened was, I think it was 1941. 1941, there was the Saint Nazaire raid. I think it was 41, correct me if I'm right, but it was pretty early in the war. And what happened was a bunch of British commandos actually raided the Nazi port in Saint Nazaire, France. And so the British commandos actually got off, they rammed the docks, and they started destroying a bunch of German ships that were in the harbor, sabotage a bunch of buildings, just cause a lot of chaos behind German lines. And even though a lot of the commandos were actually caught after the raid did a lot of damage to the German Navy. And Hitler was so furious that
Don't shoot! Don't shoot!
Well, that was kind of there.
Private First Class Jerry Langto. Mind if I tag along? I got separated from my squad during a skirmish 2 miles west of here.
So about the Saint Nazaire raid, what happened was the British commandos did so much damage, and Hitler was so furious about that that he gave a specific order that any commando that was to be captured would not be treated as a prisoner of war, even if they were in full uniform. The only time you could be executed that the Geneva Convention wouldn't protect you if you were caught as a spy. If you were caught in a spy or you were caught out of uniform and you were trying to fight, then the Geneva Convention wasn't there to protect spies. But if you were a commando, on the other hand, Hitler gave a specific order that they're not to be considered soldiers, even if they're in full uniform and they surrender. And so the Nazis would just execute any commandos that they caught. And that's what happened during Operation Market Garden, is that the Nazis considered a lot of American paratroopers to be commandos. And the very hypocritical thing about this is that the Nazis, even though they executed commandos who surrendered, the Nazis had actually used their own commandos. You had the Fallschirmjägers, which were, the German paratroopers of the Luftwaffe, and, you could argue they were pretty much commandos. They had, some pretty elite weapons like the FG-42. Those guys would parachute behind lines and cause a lot of chaos. So you could pretty much argue that the Fallschirmjägers were commandos, and also the way that a lot of the SS units operated, you could argue that they were commandos. So they damn, yeah. This mission is actually probably the most difficult mission so far. It's actually more difficult than the last mission at the docks. Missed him by a little bit here. Okay. But the thing about this, I see a guy right there. Oh, where am I getting shot from here? The music in these missions is also very sad. And you saw how that one soldier got separated from his squad. That was very common during Operation Market Garden, that soldiers would get separated from their units. This was Operation Market Garden, I think, was the largest paratrooper invasion in human history. Now, I know probably some people might ask me this in the comments section. They might ask me, professional, but if Allied soldiers would get caught in trees when they were parachuting, why didn't they just land in open fields? It's because they couldn't. It was actually safer to land in wooded areas, because if you landed in a field, you're open to fire. You land in the field, you gotta get your parachute down and get any supplies that possibly drop to, so you gotta be quick, but you're in an open area. That's why they preferred landing in wooded areas, because at least there's more cover. If you start getting pinned down, there's trees and, other things that you can take cover behind. But if you land in the field, you don't really got much cover. If you do gotta land in the field, you gotta be very quick.
Let's get a move on!
But that's the thing about this, is that the things like the commando order, Hitler basically believed that with just absolute brutality, that somehow the Allies were just going to give up. And this is the typical Nazi mindset. They thought that with their brutality, that the Allies were just going to surrender. But every single time the Nazis got more and more brutal, the resistance got bigger and bigger, and people were just not going to take it anymore, and people were going to fight as hard as possible. And when the commando order happened, Hitler actually thought there'd be less commando raids because commandos would get executed. But actually, the commando raids actually increased because commandos were actually willing to fight more. If you know that your enemy is not going to take you prisoner and he's just going to execute you, you're going to fight to the last man. And so that actually backfired completely on him. Yeah, so scenes like this in Medal of Honor, you see stuff like, in a lot of World War II games, you don't typically see stuff like this. You don't see, things like the civilians, just being harassed and just hurt by the occupiers. Yeah, this is... But this is a rated T game.
The tank's in the way, Jimmy. We better find another way around.
Okay. And for people who ask me, like, where I get my history knowledge from, I like to read a lot. I do. And World War II is a subject that I specifically like to read a lot. Okay, the kerosene. I remember when I was a kid and I played this mission, I would always miss this. I would always forget about the kerosene. I would forget to get it. And then I was running around and I was like, what am I supposed to do again? So I'd always forget the kerosene. See objectives. Protect Corporal Barnes. He destroys the tanks. Create distraction. Open city gates. Okay.
Let's get a move on.
You gotta keep moving in this part, because if you don't, the tank is gonna turn and it's gonna shoot you.
Take out this tank.
Yeah. Cover Barnes here. Okay, he's got it. Tank's rigged. There we go. Tank destroyed.
I'm here, and I'm okay for now. Let's go!
Irgendwas schreit hier rum.
Open fire!
Er ist außer Reichweite.
I love the soundtrack in these games.
Come on, Jimmy!
This tank's an annoying spot in a barn. This is what I love about the remaster, that they added iron sights. The original did not have iron sights.
Watch my back, Jimmy. I'm going in.
Okay, it's gonna blow. There we go. There we go, good shot, headshot. There's still one more tank left. Door will not open, okay. Up here, I know you can climb this. A lot of players actually don't know you can go up here. Ah, come on. Oh, great, the tank is across the river. Why is that not detonating? Okay.
can't get the tank from here. Try and take it out with that rocket launcher.
Oh, rocket launcher? Oh, this. Well, this isn't a rocket launcher, it's a Nebelwerfer. Yeah, Nebelwerfer, yeah, you would fire a lot lower with the thing, but Nebelwerfers, these things were real, and these were very scary. This would basically fire up like a ton of rockets, like, above, and they would just come down and just barrage an area really quickly. And, also, I'll tell you something else. Medal of Honor Frontline did get the uniforms right of the enemy soldiers, because when you see some of those soldiers that are, like, wearing those hats that are wearing all black, you think that they're SS, but they're not SS, they are actually tankers. So, German tankers, they actually wore black. Their uniforms are actually the exact same color as the SS. The SS wore all black. The tankers would also wear all black. There was SS tankers, but even, like, Wehrmacht tankers would wear all black, too. So a lot of people oftentimes get that mixed up in the movies. Where are we going here? Oh, that way, okay.
Hands up, Jimmy Carter! This one's mine. Hier, Männer. This one's mine.
See that guy? I couldn't get a glimpse of his uniform because I killed him too quickly, but that was probably a tank commander. Okay, this is the last tank, I believe. There we go, got it. That's all the tanks. There's a town.
Okay, Jimmy. Unfortunately, this is where we part ways. We got an invitation to hold up with a Dutch resistance contact not too far from here. You're a good man. You'll do fine.
Okay, so now we have to create a distraction to get into the city gates. Here's what we do. There we go, I got it. Oh, bronze? Thought I did better in that one. Okay, whatever. Klevberg, Holland. Jimmy, you must pursue any leads on our missing Dutch informant. Find a place to hide out just inside the town gates and wait for nightfall. Klevberg is under strict curfew past sundown, and the streets are full of German patrols. Resistance contact will bring you a silenced pistol, which will undoubtedly come in handy. The OSS, that's Office of Strategic Service, that's pretty much the precursor to the CIA, has arranged for an agent named Fox to provide transportation to the Golden Lion, a pub Garrett is known to frequent. Before meeting Fox, however, find some tools and perform repairs on a German motor pool. Or those repairs, I mean destroy it. Stop for the night. A woman in the Dutch resistance will be watching closely for signs of your handiwork. Once you've accomplished your task, your trustworthiness will be confirmed, and she will signal Fox of your arrival. Fox will then meet you at the far end of an alley in a garage marked with an orange ribbon. You will ease your passage through town, and if you and Fox pull over to quietly clip an electrical line or drain the oil of any German vehicles you spot. Your main objective is to reach the pub and meet a resistance contact who may have news about Garrett. Don't worry about identifying the contact. Once you're there, he'll find you. However, as there is currently no combat in the area, this pub is likely to be crawling with rowdy German officers. I suggest borrowing a German officer's uniform and concealing your weapons before entering the pub. Your driver, Fox, will assist you in that area. Happy hunting, Patterson. So this is arguably one of the best missions in the game. Klevberg, Holland. Okay. There's me a patrol coming through here. Can wait to ambush them. Yeah, Springfield's definitely a beast rifle. You know, the M1 Garand, even though it's the standard issue rifle of the US during World War II, you actually don't see in that many missions in this game. Okay, so you want to take out the alarms pretty quickly. There we go. That'll prevent them from calling in reinforcements. Now you see, this is pretty historically accurate here, because this is the Kubelwagen, which the Kubelwagen is kind of like Germany's equivalent to the Jeep during World War II. The front of it actually did not have the engine. The front of it is actually where the storage was kept. The back is actually where the engine is. They got that right. Come on. Okay, yeah, that guy was getting annoying. Oh no.
can't go anywhere until you clear the area of Germans. I don't want them to see my truck. You know how the Gestapo can be.
Gestapo is the Nazi secret police. Okay. I'm probably gonna get spotted here. There, the alarm's been taken care of. They can't call in for reinforcements now. Because if the alarms go off, you have a bunch of people that spawn on rooftops shooting at you, and it gets really annoying. Okay, let's start sabotaging these vehicles then. Okay, 2 vehicles left. That's cut.
Let's get moving.
I love this part when he's driving and you're just shooting.
Hold tight. I'm taking a shortcut through now. It's bound to get bumped.
Damn.
Sabotage those cars so we can't be followed. Sabotage those cars so we can't be followed.
Oh no, I had still. Damn. I should have checked. Yeah, this is what happens. The alarm goes off. I should have checked how many bullets I had in the gun.
Let's get moving. That church is really something. Look at that. Gorgeous. Close your mouth or you're gonna have some meat.
hard to shoot from the truck when it's moving.
The other side.
Aufgepasst!
Damn, it's frustrating trying to get in here.
Let's get moving.
Hold on! Right, there's not a straight street in Europe or never. Hey, Jimmy, what do you think?
Got him, okay.
Do you see that laundry truck? You might be able to find a uniform and grab him at the pub.
Verschwendigt die Anzeige! Verschwendigt die Anzeige!
Right there, make sure they don't call in for reinforcements.
Let's get moving.
I heard a funny story about that statue. Remind me to tell you sometime. Hold on!
Whoa, whoa.
Ausschwärmen!
Yeah, so truck driver doesn't make it here, but his body is not shown. I was wondering when I was a kid, where did his body go?
Ist mir den fetten Hintern auf den Boden geknallt? Das ist mir den fetten Hintern auf den Boden geknallt? Aus der Marmor geflogen ist.
Okay.
Gehen Sie nach Hause? Soll um die Zeit nicht draußen sein. Was glotzt denn so?
So basically, to get through the guards that are at the door, what you do is to tell the piano player.
Ja, das Lied kenne ich auch. In der anderen Gaststätte. Ah, und das Lamm war zart gewesen, es war zart wie fast auf der Brücke zu
Now this part is hilarious. I'll never forget this part. You spilled a beer.
Pass auf, das! Kannst du dein Bier nicht gerade halten, du blöder Drecksack? Ach Mann, halt die Fresse! Blöder Sackmeier! Weißt du was? Eine Frechheit, mich zu beleidigen, du besoffenes Schwein!
So this guy's from the Dutch Resistance. He's your contact. So this is arguably the best mission in the game. People love this mission. And this is Dorne Manor. Now, this is a place in real life. This place in real life is actually the residence of Kaiser Wilhelm. So the last monarch of Germany. When he abdicated after World War I, he actually took a residence here, and he took asylum in the Netherlands. Now, the Dutch actually did not like him, but they still granted him asylum. But what the Dutch did was they had a strict rule that if he was to leave like 20 miles outside of his mansion, he had to get permission. What happened was the Kaiser saw he saw the fall of France, but he didn't see the end of World War II. He died, I think, 1941 or 1942.
Du bist nicht Friedrich. Die Uniform ist falsch. Du bist einer von uns. Nimm ihn von hinten.
Okay. You get the shotgun here, which is one of the best weapons in the game. Now, what happened to Kaiser during World War II? The Nazis, when they invaded the Netherlands, they didn't kill him or arrest him, but they kept him under close supervision. They watched him, and neither party trusted each other. And the Kaiser was not able to do anything without the Nazis constantly looking over his shoulder. Now, what did Kaiser Wilhelm actually think of Hitler? He hated Hitler, and Hitler actually hated him too. Now, the reason that they hated each other is because the Kaiser was a bad man. He wasn't a good person, but he wasn't evil. Hitler, on the other hand, was just pure evil. There's a difference between being bad and being evil. Now, okay. About the reason that Kaiser Wilhelm was actually horrified by Hitler's regime is because Kaiser Wilhelm was an anti-Semite. He didn't like Jewish people. He heavily discriminated against them, but he didn't commit mass genocide. And what happened was during Kristallnacht, Kristallnacht was when Nazis were going around just beating up Jewish people, breaking into Jewish businesses, burning them down. They killed a lot of people. It was horrible. The Kaiser was horrified by that. Because even though he was anti-Semitic, he wasn't killing people. He wasn't murdering people for being Jewish. And he was so disgusted by that, he said that he made a famous quote where he said, "For the first time in my life, I am ashamed to be German." And what happened is the Nazis tried to the Nazis tried to spin his death. When the Kaiser knew that he was eventually going to die, he knew he was getting old, he was getting sick, and the Nazis were hoping to spin his death as propaganda for the regime, that they would take him back to Germany, to bury him with swastikas, and that Hitler would basically say, oh, I am Kaiser Wilhelm's successor for like any monarchists in Germany. But Kaiser Wilhelm anticipated this. He knew that Hitler would try to use his death as propaganda, and so he got revenge on the Nazis. What he did was, he wrote in his last will that when he dies, he is not to be buried in Germany until the monarchy is to be restored, and he is not to be buried with any kind of swastikas. So imagine the embarrassment for the Nazis when that will was read. Oh, damn, there's missing a lot of guys here. Okay. But a big difference between the Kaiser and Hitler is Hitler was, the reason that Hitler actually hated the Kaiser was for two reasons. The first reason is because Hitler thought that the Kaiser would try to take power from him, and so he saw him as a threat. And the second reason is because the Kaiser was blamed by the Nazis for Germany's defeat in World War I. Now, here's the thing. There's nothing the Kaiser could have really done to win World War I. No one could have, no one at that position could have really done anything for Germany to win World War I. Germany was pretty much finished in World War I. Basically, what happened is, Germany's last attempt to actually win World War I was in spring of 1918. The reason is because Russia pulled out of the war, and after Russia pulled out of the war, Germany took all their troops on the Eastern Front, sent them to the Western Front, and they tried to basically do a giant push and just overrun the Allies. Now, this push just completely failed. It was a complete disaster. And after that, Germany could never launch any more offensives during major offensives during World War I. And when the more American troops kept coming in, Germany had lost. It was over at that point. Now, there's nothing the Kaiser could have done to turn that around in Germany's favor. Nobody could have. And even though, the Kaiser is not a good man, he did do some bad things. He wasn't evil because he didn't want to see Germany's total destruction. When he had to abdicate, when the German officials told him to abdicate, he abdicated. Because he realized the war was lost. He, the chandelier falls on this guy. That was just bizarre. The map is in here, by the way. So when even though he didn't want to abdicate, he didn't want Germany to surrender, he didn't want Germany's total destruction. He didn't want Germany to just get completely destroyed. And so even though when Germany surrendered in World War I, they were severely punished, they really, if they didn't surrender,
It would be better for all of us if you gave yourself up before we stain the interior of this lovely home with your blood.
he, oh, these guys here. Watch out for them. Yeah, okay, clear here. So, Germany had to surrender in World War I, even though the terms weren't good for them, and they got severely punished. If they actually fought on, like Hitler wanted them to do in World War I, Germany would have been totally destroyed. It would have been invaded and just the country would have been obliterated like it was in World War II. World War II, when Hitler would refuse to surrender. He refused to negotiate whatsoever. And with that basically shows you what happens. When the war was lost and you don't surrender, your entire country is destroyed. And that's what happened. That's what happened to Germany in World War II. Hitler didn't want to surrender, and Germany faced complete destruction because of it. The country was obliterated. I mean, Germany eventually got rebuilt, sure, but you look at what Germany looked like in 1945. That, you know, they could have avoided all that destruction on their country if they had just surrendered.
Ja, we zijn klaar. Ik denk dat hij net aangekomen is. Hello, Lieutenant Patterson. I'm glad you made it. You haven't much time. They're transporting the prisoners tonight. Take whatever supplies you need. Good luck.
STG-44, world's first assault rifle. STG-44 stands for Sturmgewehr 44, which means storm rifle or assault rifle in German. The 8mm Kurz is what this fired. Yes, but the STG-44 was revolutionary. And here's the thing about the STG-44. The STG-44, Hitler actually hated its design originally, and he would not allow it because Hitler believed that bolt-action rifles would win the war for Germany in World War II. And German scientists realized they needed to make some kind of better advancements in technology in order to gain some kind of advantage because they were overrun and they were getting surrounded from all sides. And so what they basically did was you constantly hear the STG-44 referred to as the machine pistol 44, machine MP-44. But what is the difference between the MP-44 and the STG-44? It's pretty much the exact same thing. There really is no difference. But the MP-44 is what the gun was actually called early on. Oh, and I think I missed the clock that I was supposed to get the document from. So, the STG-44, the reason it was called MP-44 was to hide its design from Hitler. That was the whole reason. Because MP-44 machine pistol, it was disguised as a pistol. That was the whole purpose, was to hide that from Hitler. But when Hitler actually found out about the rifle, he actually liked the rifle's design. But even though the STG-44 was actually a very advanced rifle for the time, and actually the STG-44 is pretty much what set the precedent for assault rifles of, you know, modern day, even to this day. It was not enough to turn the war in Germany's favor.
Thank goodness. I was sure I was finished.
Okay, now it's got a clear path for Jarrett here. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Dorne Manor doesn't have like a structure this big. Okay, is Jared behind us? Oh, let's see. Yeah, there he is, okay. Now, there's actually a glitch with Jarrett, which, even in Medal of Honor Remastered, it actually was not, fixed. Action to motivate, Garrett. Yeah, that part gets a little stressful because you have to land on the hay. And Garrett, you know, falls to the ground right here a lot of times. Sometimes he doesn't land on the hay, and yet he's perfectly fine. But that's pretty much it for the mission.
Allied infantry always welcomed the sight of a Sherman tank. Its combination of speed, firepower, and quick repair made it an invaluable ground weapon. The sheer number of Shermans in the field usually allowed Allied generals to count on armored superiority. However,
That's true.
not all the Sherman tank specs were ideal. It was thinly armored and caught fire easily. In addition, its cannon was not large enough to pierce the more heavily armored enemy tanks, a weakness not shared by the German Tiger. Fortunately, evolving teamwork between ground spotters, artillery, and the Army Air Force meant no Tiger was impenetrable, thus helping the Shermans rule the day.
And that's one of the reasons why the Americans. That's one of the reasons that the Americans defeated the Nazis, because the American logistics were just so much better. Because the Americans were just able to get supplies and just move it in much faster and at a much better rate than the Germans did. And here's the thing, even though some people argue what the best tank of the war is, but I think that it was the Sherman because the Americans were able to build so many of them. You know, the T-34 is probably the probably a close second. You know, maybe you could argue that's the best also. But, you know, on the Western Front, the best tank there is the Sherman. And it's because there was just so many of them made. Like, you know, the Germans, you know, would say, you know, the Germans would have, like, you know, a Tiger. But for every Tiger the Germans had, you know, you'd have, like, five Shermans or more. So you could just overwhelm them with just the amount of Shermans that you have. You might not have the most firepower in one Sherman. You might not have the best armor, but it's the amount that you have, which makes a huge difference. But that's pretty much it for this part, guys. Thank you guys for watching. I hope that you guys enjoyed this. If you did, do drop a like, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care, everyone. Have a wonderful day, guys.